Thanks for coming out and watching the oxymoronic Reddit Professional Show, where I showcase the best and worst of the internet. Here I comment on brilliant and hilarious comment chains regarding dumb shit on the internet for you to enjoy. Make sure to subscribe, hit the little bell button so that you get notifications every time we come up with a new video. Enjoy this week's show.
Life pro tip: if you like one song by an artist, but don't dig the rest of their stuff, find out who the producer is and see what other work they've done. The producer can play a big role in how the final song turns out. Geez, where were you with this advice 30 years ago? I have no idea how many tapes and then DVDs I bought, on the strength of a single, only to joylessly play the rest of the album trying to convince myself I like any of the rest of it. Someone told me I don't like Justin Timberlake, I like Timbaland. Timbaland was fucking unstoppable in the early 2000s. There's a video on YouTube of him playing Jay-Z a bunch of beats in the studio, and he's going through them and they're almost all beats that you would recognize now if you're a hip-hop fan, ended up going to various rappers. Jay chose the beat that would become Dirt Off Your Shoulders and drops a verse on the spot. It's so fucking cool, I'm gonna try to find a link here. If you liked hip-hop in the 90s and / or 00s, you probably liked Timbaland. Produced hits with Genuine, Aaliyah, Missy Elliott, Nelly, Jay-Z, Ludacris, Rihanna, Lil Kim, Justin Timberlake, LL Cool J, Exhibit, Brandy, The Game, 50 Cent, and Usher. He still makes music, but the 2000s were his prime for sure, and if nothing else he gets credit for being the guy that pulled Justin Timberlake out of NSYNC and made him a solo star. But don't forget about that physician Dre. No one could forget about Dre. Till Creed produces their own material. As funny as this is, and true, I really like Alter Bridge, which is basically all of Creed minus Scott Stapp. It's crazy how good a band can be when they're not held back by such a blowhard. You know what you do, Tobias? You get yourself a tape recorder and just record yourself the whole day. I just blew myself. Look up Max Martin. It's like having your eyes open to the Illuminati of the pop music industry. Holy shit. The only people with more number ones as a songwriter are Lennon and McCartney, and the only person with more number ones as a producer is the fifth Beatle, George Martin. Also, honestly, it just shows how the music industry has the formula down to make smash hits. A lot of similar sounding music out there. Whoever is dating Calvin Harris is just dating their next album. Adam, Calvin, is an amazing producer. Look at his first couple of albums, from 2007 and 2009 I believe. Totally different feel than today's releases. I got the album cover of Ready for the Weekend, custom printed on a canvas, and is currently hanging over my bed's headboard. I've been as infatuated with that model and those B-glasses as I am with his early hits like I'm Not Alone and Feel So Close. Flashback, I'm Not Alone, The Girls, Acceptable in the 80s, You Used to Hold Me, and Bounce will forever be my favorite Calvin Harris tracks. A lot of good times were had to those songs once upon a time. I really can't get down with what he does now. Once We Found Love with Rihanna happened, it's never been the same. I mean, good for him, he's got his money. But it's not the same. Reminds me of that Halo, Beyoncé, / Already Gone, Kelly Clarkson, kerfuffle. Common denominator was producer Ryan Tedder. Ryan Tedder has wrote so many number one songs it's insane. Also Ed Sheeran. Whether you like the music or not, those two are very good at writing pop music. So many of the things they work on for themselves and for others become huge hits. It was Prince. Prince wrote everything. So, I'm fully aware that Prince is a music god. But this LPT is like the reverse for me when it comes to him. I really like No Doubt. Like, a lot. There isn't much of their stuff I don't like. I still regularly listen to Tragic Kingdom. It's been in my CD player in my car for 10 years, straight. Except, they have this one song that is literally unlistenable to me. And Prince co-wrote and produced it. He really changed the song from what the band would have done, according to an interview Gwen did, though she called it genius. I'm sure it's visionary, but it's not enjoyable to listen to. Waiting Room from Rocksteady. Actually, what does a producer do? Like in a song, or in a movie? What's his role in it? Imagine you are a singer and have an idea for a song but don't exactly know how to execute it. That is the producer's job, at least in the music business. What he does is take a simple melody that you have recorded, get some real musicians in, record the song, arranging it, mixing it, and then mastering it. Now all this is not done by the producer himself in some cases. He might ask an arranger / music director to arrange the song, i.e. the structure / movement of the song. A mixing engineer to mix, i.e. get the volume levels right, as well as making each instrument have its own place in the mix, and last but not the least, paying attention to the frequencies so nothing is clashing. For example, too much bass can make your song muddy and lose some clarity, while too much treble can make the song lose its energy, so everything should be balanced out. Mastering is done by a mastering engineer, who takes the well-balanced track from the mixer and gives it the final touch for the commercial real ease of the track. Phew. Seems a lot of work, right? So the record producer is simply the captain and all the other are the crew members. Technically, the individual producer might still do all the aforementioned processes required to make a song as an individual, but when you are part of a big label, producers seldom do everything. Hope that answers your question. Danger Mouse. Look him up and everything he's done. The Mouse and the Mask with MF Doom is amazing. Life pro tip: if you don't think you like Ghostface Killah, listen to Ray Gun. With several significant exceptions, the producer contributes more to the sound and arrangement of the track than the artist. I've produced tracks that need almost nothing. I've remixed tracks where I flew the lead vocals over a completely new track. That took me 3 weeks to make, while still respecting the original. It's easy to tell the producer when they have very specific sounds. Trevor Horn, Phil Ramone, Flood, Danny Elfman, Nelly Hooper, Rick Rubin, Brian Eno, lots of producers are pretty much instantly identifiable. I'll agree completely with the op. I've discovered complete unknowns that have big folders on my drives with their material. Much of the time, the band doesn't even matter. Had to scroll far too much to see the first mention of Trevor Horn. Great producer. My hero. Good friend of mine as well. Very nice guy, patient, brilliant. He lost his wife, Jill, in a horrible accident where their son accidentally shot her with a pellet gun, and put her in a coma for years. He was never the same after that. Trevor's stuff is great because he has what every producer wants: his own studio, unlimited budgets, and all the time he wants. By example, Slave to the Rhythm, the single, took 3 years and cost £800,000. Warner Brothers freaked out and demanded he make it into an album, which he did, using just synclavier parts. But what an album. I remember reading about that terribly sad story. Not surprised he's a nice guy, seems very softly spoken, must be great to have a friend like that, must be a great insight into the industry. 90,125 and welcome to the Pleasure Dome in my top 10 albums. Indeed. There literally would be no Beatles, at least not like we all know them, if it weren't for George Martin. They knew that after the White Album, and begged him to come back and produce one more album. He replied he would be glad to, if he was allowed to actually take over again and produce them like he did in the beginning. Paul totally, immediately agreed, and then the others also. And that's what gave us Abbey Road. Damn straight a great producer means everything. Just came here to say that I love anything Danger Mouse touches. Albums for the Black Keys, Broken Bells, and Portugal. The man. He has produced some amazing albums. I know, I'm going deep dive tonight on Danger Mouse. Have you heard any of the pre-El Camino albums by the Black Keys? If not, I highly recommend them. Especially Rubber Factory, Magic Potion, and Brothers, which is the album they made right after Attack and Release, which is a good album, but definitely not their best. Brothers and Magic Potion are both masterpieces. Magic Potion was when they still just recorded stuff raw, without any extra production effects and just guitar and drums. Brothers was definitely a professional production, with added effects, guitar pedals, keyboards, and even bass guitar too. However, every song is awesome and unique. Unfortunately, the next two albums, El Camino and Turn Blue, are pretty mediocre, save a couple good songs. They just got too complacent with making radio-friendly songs, where they all sort of sound the same and don't have much of a kick-ass energy that they had previously. Anyway, just my 2 cents about their albums. I try to show their older stuff to people who have never heard them before, and they're so amazing that really anyone can enjoy their sound. It's universally badass. I absolutely love Brothers. When it came out, I couldn't set that album down. It got me through a hard part of my life with a relationship I was in. It captured my feelings perfectly. It seemed like a love and hate album. One song talks about being the only one and the next song talks about hating your ex. It just fit my mood perfectly at the time. I've listened to every Black Keys album, but Weight of Love really pops up and it's kinda different from the other stuff. Edit, maybe Little Black Submarines, but it lacked the sick guitar that Weight of Love has. This is why I love Def Leppard, AC/DC, and Shania Twain.
If you enjoyed this week's effective way to waste time, hit that like button and subscribe for more content like this. If you are enjoying the series, leave me a comment below. A special shout out to the content creators. You frickin' rock.